Emmerdale's huge stunt week concluded with an incredibly emotional outing, as Mandy Dingle at last discovered the truth about Paul Ashdale abusing Vinny. It has been a long-running narrative, and one that was incredibly difficult to watch at times, but the truth is finally out. Mandy, doubts going round and round in her head, listened as Liv Flaherty and Erin Dingle told her what her beloved Paul had been doing to her son. In addition to this shocking reveal, Liv and Jimmy King recovered in hospital, as did Vinny. It was truly a week that Emmerdale fans will not forget, and it ended with a slower, albeit equally as powerful edition. If there's one thing we can take away from this outing, it's that the heartache is far from over, and we thought it only fitting that, given how powerful the episode was, we take a closer look. Vinny's abuse at last exposed. Mandy refused to believe that Vinny was being assaulted by Paul when Liv told her in this particular installment, but she later discovered that it is, in fact, the truth. Vinny's attempts to deny that his dad was responsible for his hospitalizations didn't fool Mandy, who saw right through him. She was heartbroken to say the least, as she came to terms with the fact that her one true love wasn't the man he claimed to be. Will she feel guilt moving forwards, perhaps? Regardless, it's safe to say she'll rue the day she let Paul Ashdale back into their lives. Liv, Vinny and Jimmy's fates revealed Paul might have perished in the explosion, but fans were convinced that another mainstay of the ITV soap would meet their demise in a shock twist. Thankfully, this was not the case, as Liv, Jimmy and Vinny all recovered and woke up in hospital. Will Liv struggle with the guilt? Liv, in spite of Paul attacking her, attempted to rescue the abuser from the burning barn, but when he started spitting vile insults at her, she left him to die. There was a moment where she considered going back to rescue Paul, it would seem, but an explosion knocked her unconscious before she could re-enter the barn. Upon waking up in hospital, Liv was devastated to discover that Paul had died, and she proceeded to blame herself for leaving him. Erin assured her that none of this was her fault, but will Liv see it that way? Or will she perhaps struggle to come to terms with her decision? Will Jimmy find himself in trouble with the law? Jimmy had enough on his plate with Juliet Holliday attempting to sabotage his business in order to ensure he cannot afford a costly legal battle, and now he has Paul's death on his conscience. Nicola broke the news of their fellow villager's death in tonight's episode, leaving Jimmy floored. The question now is, will he face repercussions for driving into the barn? Will the police want to speak to him? If so, could he find himself in danger? Will Mackenzie come clean? Mackenzie was evidently struggling to keep a lid on the fact that, in a sense, it's his fault the barn tragedy occurred, after he lied to Jimmy in order to get him to return to the village. The young man was feel guilty in the wake of the news of Paul's death, but will this incident perhaps act as a cautionary tale for him? Or will it have the opposite effect, and therefore push him into more criminal activity to distract from the guilt? Will Juliet succeed in winning custody of Carl? Juliet descended to a new low tonight, as she took advantage of Jimmy's hospitalization in order to win favor with Carl. With Carl worried that his dad might die, the returnee told him that, no matter what happens, she will look after him, as she is his real mom. With Juliet having proven that there is very little she wouldn't do in order to get what she wants, one can't help but wonder if she will use Jimmy's reckless driving against him in order to win custody of Carl.